What's going on, guys? It's your boy Caesar. This is Caesar Day. Let's watch some videos today. I'm watching this video, first of all, because I'm a Mac Dre fan or supporter. I remember when I think the first time I listened to Mac Dre was probably when I was like a freshman in high school around there. Middle school was like when I first heard of Mac Dre's, like, those like hyphy songs. But it was until like when I was a freshman when I like actually listened to many of his songs. I really enjoy Mac Dre's music. It's pretty timeless, and he was just like a lyrical genius. Like I really liked his flow. He kind of reminds me of like almost like Biggie, Biggie Smalls. But yeah, he's Bay Area legend. I'm from the Bay Area, so um, unfortunately, they killed him. I think it was in 2004. I also just want to pay tribute to Mac Dre, being that it's November 1st, when he passed away in 2004. Rest in peace, Mac Dre. Love your music. Yeah, let's get into this.
But before he could get the shine he deserved, he was tragically murdered, and the case is still unsolved. Today we're breaking down all the details in his wild rise to fame and tragic murder.
Wait, my favorite song from Mac Dre, though, has to be Cut Those Soup. I love that song, dude.
Mac Dre was born in Oakland, but grew up mostly in Vallejo, California. His family eventually moved to the country club Crest neighborhood, which is where he started making music. Mac Dre and his friends started as breakdancers, and in junior high, he bought a microphone and started rapping in the garage. While he was in high school, he started making waves in the Bay Area with his song "Too Hard for the Fucking Radio."
Oh, I also love that song too. Since '84, I love that song. Feeling Myself. Um, Get Stupid, Make You Mine, Not My Job. I love those songs. But which one's the one? The Thizzle Dance. Um, oh, Life's a B. That's all. That's probably my second favorite song. So Cut Those Soup number one, and then Life's a B, and then Too Hard for the Radio, and then all the other ones that I just mentioned. Um,
Rapper from Vallejo named Michael the Mac Robinson, who taught him the game and even gave him his rap name, Mac Dre. He recorded his first three projects between 1988 and 1992.
dude, that album looks classy, bro. Like classic, I think bro's wearing Cortez.
And was making a name for himself in the Bay. But before he could take things to the next level, he got caught up in a wild situation that put his career on hold for the next few years. On March 26, 1992, Mac took a road trip to Fresno, California with his homies Jay Diggs and Kilo Kurt. He did a show in the city 2 weeks before and met a woman. So they decided to go back so he could spend time with her. But on the way back to Vallejo, they were pulled over and surrounded by cops from both the Vallejo Police Department and the FBI. Police said that while Mac was at a motel with his girl, his friends were planning a bank robbery. They found out about the robbery and were going to wait to catch him in the act.
Bank robbery. I do remember him like mentioning a few things about that, like bank robberies in his songs.
But the local media heard about it on the police scanner. News crews showed up before the robbery even happened, which tipped off Kilo Kurt and Jay Diggs that the police were onto him. At the time, they were also investigating a wave of bank robberies that had been happening in the Vallejo area, so they were convinced that Mac Dre and his crew were somehow involved with the other robberies. Mac claimed he was completely innocent and was in a motel room the entire time, but he refused to snitch on his homies, so he ended up getting arrested with them and charged with conspiracy to commit bank robbery.
Damn.
He also refused to take a plea deal and took the case to trial, where he was found guilty and caught a 5-year
Guilty?
sentence.
Oh
Kilo
crap.
Kurt and Jay Diggs ended up getting 10 years each for being the alleged masterminds. Some fans felt like Mac was being unfairly targeted because he was a popular gangster rapper who spoke out about police brutality. After he was arrested,
For real,
he
I
even
think
dropped a
too.
track called Punk Police, where he called out members of the Vallejo PD by name.
That's
On the song,
crazy.
he rapped, "I could maybe understand if I was breaking the law, and I'ma dedicate this to Detective McGraw. You be steady accusing, but these cases you losing. You be steady abusing, man. Do you find it amusing?"
He called out a
was the one leading the
detective.
case, and he even tried to use the song lyrics in court to prove Mac was guilty. The trial
Wait,
also brought
my city's on
leading the
there.
case, and he even tried.
Says music lyrics in several songs refer to the gang's lifestyle, and some lyrics mention robberies occurring in the Oakland. down to San Jose.
He was eventually released in early 1996 after serving 4 years. Those years
Damn,
behind
4 years.
bars gave him a new perspective on life. So as soon as he got
Damn.
out, Mac went right back to making music. He hit the studio the day he was released, and within a few weeks, he already
I
finished.
mean, yeah, hit the studio. Like, he probably had a lot of stuff written down, you know? That's crazy, though. If he did 4 years, like, was there even evidence of him, like, of his charge?
New album, but he started to switch up his style after getting out of prison. His delivery was way more upbeat and sounded like dance music. That's when his career really started.
Oh, so before it was more like kind of that, like, hard rap or hard hip hop rap, and then it switched to like see like kind of like you know how Biggie Smalls his flow was kind of like almost like party and BS and party and like kind of that style, you know, or like that. Biggie just had this flow, and I feel like Mac Dre had a flow too.
Take off, and Mac Dre was getting played in all the local clubs. He'd also get on stage and do a bunch of
To this day, getting played in Bay Area clubs, man, every weekend.
crazy dance moves no one had ever seen, which became known as the Thizzle Dance.
That's move
A
no
bunch of
one
crazy
have ever
dance
seen.
moves no one had ever was getting played in all the local clubs. He'd also get on stage and do a bunch of crazy dance moves no one had ever seen, which became known as the Thizzle Dance. Mac Dre's new sound and style helped lay the foundation for the hyphy
They
movement
did the
that would
Dizzle
pop off in the
dance.
Bay a few years later. Over the next few years, Mac dropped back-to-back albums and continued to build his buzz. He started pitching tracks to major labels and even started his own company, Diz Entertainment. The hyphy sound was especially popular in Missouri, and he started booking shows in Kansas City and St.
Missouri?
Louis. He knew expanding into new areas would help him grow his fan base, but Mac Dre had no idea it would also cost him his life.
That
On
sucks,
Halloween
man.
weekend,
He could have been a huge artist, dude. Like, seriously.
2004, Mac was booked for a few shows at the Kansas City National Guard Armory alongside other popular Bay Area artists like Yuckmouth and Keek the Sneak. He was booked by a promoter named Damon Whitmill, who agreed to pay Mac around $12,500 for 2 shows. Mac and his entourage arrived in Kansas City on October 27th so he could do a radio show and record signing at a local bookstore to promote the event. According to the promoter Damon, Mac showed up with a huge crew of over 20 people and was late. On the day of the first performance, he didn't show up until 30 minutes after he was supposed to wrap up, and when he did perform, his crew rushed the stage, causing a surge in the crowd. The show eventually had to be shut down before the end of his set, and the whole scene was tense. Keek the Sneak and Yuckmouth realized something was off, so they decided to leave after the first show, but Mac Dre stayed to finish out the weekend. The promoter booked Mac for another show on Sunday to try and recoup some of the money he lost the first night, but he claims Mac was late again and left after only 30 minutes. According to Jay Diggs, Mac did what he was supposed to do and only left the venue after getting into a fight with the promoter because he refused to pay Mac what he was still owed. Whatever happened, Mac left the venue and got into a white van to go back to his hotel. The van was traveling north on Highway 71 around 2:30 a.m. when a dark sedan pulled up next to it and started letting off shots. Over 30 shots were fired from an automatic rifle and a .45 caliber pistol. The sedan also ran the van off the road,
Damn.
causing it to crash into a ditch. But the driver managed to get out and ran to the hotel to call the police. Sadly, by the time help arrived, Mac Dre was already gone. He was pronounced dead on the scene from a bullet wound.
Damn.
By the time help arrived, Mac Dre was already gone. He was pronounced dead on the scene from a bullet wound to the back of the neck. Mac Dre's death shocked the entire world, and everyone wanted to know who was responsible.
That's
Fans would never get
crazy.
the
Like,
answers.
I feel like if I was old enough, you know, well, I was like 8 years old at the time. I feel like if I was old enough when that happened, I would be like bummed out too. Like I was. I think the death of a rapper that most kind of like I was like upset about at the time was the Jacka. Um, because like I think he got according to what we know, he got hit by a stray bullet in Oakland. Um, and that really bummed me out. The Jacka, you know, he's from the Bay too. But second would be probably X, and then third would be Mac Miller.
We're looking for. No one knows exactly what happened that night, and the case is still unsolved to this day. But there are a few different theories about what might have happened. In 2008, he pled guilty to drug trafficking charges, which is when he contacted Detective Babcock and told him he had information about the murder of Mac Dre.
To get
Savino
less
told
time.
Detective Babcock that on the night of Mac's murder, he had taken his kids trick-or-treating and sent his friend Harold Piercy to take him where he needed to go. But after the show, Savino claimed trick-or-treating and sent his friend.
Oh, because it was October 31st, right? It was, well, basically November November 1st, but it was like at 2 a.m. or whatever. DeVillo took his kids trick or treating.
Took back his statement because he was afraid of being labeled a snitch. So,
Bro.
Savino was sentenced to 30 years in prison for the drug case.
Damn.
Even with all the tips and information connecting Papoose and Damon to the crime, police can never make an arrest. Mostly because Damon and Papoose both try to pin it on someone else, a local Kansas City rapper named Anthony Fat Tone Watkins.
That's who I keep hearing it is that killed Mac Dre, Fat Tone.
Fat Tone was also well known to Kansas City police. In 2001, he was convicted of double murder for allegedly killing a 19-year-old woman and her unborn child. He spent 9 months locked up, but the case was eventually dismissed after he filed an appeal and the witnesses failed to cooperate. Once he got out, Fat Tone started a rap career and used his new image as a ruthless killer who just beat a body to help sell records. He was building a local buzz and even started collaborating with artists from the Bay Area whose sound was catching on in Kansas City. Mac Dre, Messy Marv, and Killer Wolf.
Messy Marv, I know him. He did songs with the Jacka. Tech Nine, Mac Dre.
All appeared on Fat Tone's first album, Only in Killer City. Rumors started going around that he and Fat Tone had gotten into an argument over stage time during the show at the Armory. Police received dozens of tips claiming there had been some sort of altercation between the two rappers. Fat Tone denied this, and the police could never confirm that it actually happened. But that didn't stop the rumors from spreading that Fat Tone was somehow involved. But in 2006, Papoose finally admitted to driving a stolen Infiniti that was used in the murder, except he claims that he sold it to Fat Tone the day before it all went down.
So this
Detective
story
Babcock
keeps
did not believe
changing.
the story, but he had no way to prove he was lying, so it seemed like Fat Tone was being set up. But that didn't stop the streets from talking and spreading the story that he was the killer. There was even a rumor that Fat Tone had recorded a diss track where he admitted to killing Mac Dre, even though he actually dropped the track where he denied being involved. On his mixtape, My Hood Betrayed Me Volume 4, Fat Tone addressed the rumors head on in the intro, Can't Fuck With a G. Sometimes, when a lie is more entertaining than the truth, it's hard to change people's minds. Tragically, Fat Tone never got the chance to prove his innocence, and he was gunned down a few months after the murder of Mac Dre. On May 22nd, 2005,
That's crazy.
to change people's minds. Tragically, Fat Tone never got the chance to prove his innocence, and he was gunned down a few months after the murder of Mac Dre. On May 22nd, 2005, Fat Tone and his friend Jermaine Atkins were in Vegas for a Snoop Dogg concert. That night, he called his friends and family bragging about his gambling wins, and even said that he was hoping to meet Snoop and 50 Cent. But even though he seemed to be having the night of his life, he had no idea it would also be his last. Tone had been shot about 20 times and was slumped over in the front seat of a blue 1992 Toyota Tercel. Atkins had been shot another 13 times and was laying on the ground a few feet away. It turns out Fat Tone...
No, they wanted him dead, bro. He got shot 20 times, bro.
While they were waiting, a Pontiac pulled up beside them and started letting off shots from an AK-47.
AK-47?
Questioning, and police believed the murder was retaliation for the death of Mac Dre. Police found out that Lee was a prostitute who was working for Mac Minister and his friend Jason Corleone Mathis. On November 5th, 2005,
she got killed too?
Lee Larson's dead body was discovered in a park in Fairfield, California, a city
trying to cover their... Bro, they're trying to cover their tracks, I guess.
And got involved with the wrong people. On November 5th, 2005, Lee Larson's dead body was discovered in a park in Fairfield, California, a city not far from Vallejo. So, police knew they had to find Mac Minister before anyone else got hurt. Mac Minister and Jason Corleone were both charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of conspiracy to commit murder. The trial lasted less than a week before the jury found them guilty of first-degree murder, and they were both sentenced to life without parole.
Damn.
No one truly knows why Mac Minister decided to take out Fat Tone. Even though he was from the Bay, he didn't even know Mac Dre. But according to rumors, he was mad that Mac's friends had not gotten revenge for his death and felt it made the Bay look bad. So, he decided to take things into his own hands.
That's crazy.
According to Mac Dre's own friends, they didn't do anything because they knew Fat Tone was innocent. So, Mac Minister might have crashed out for no reason, just because of a rumor started by the actual
bro
killer.
was crashing out.
There are some people who don't believe.
Bro was crashing out just to make the Bay, like, not look bad.
Dre's friends and think he may have been backdoored by his own people. Years later, another Bay Area rapper named JT the Bigger Figure came out and exposed Mac Dre's friends, Jay Diggs and Kilo Kurt, for being involved with the murder.
Yeah, Kilo Kurt, Diggs, they know who did it. They was cool with this nigga.
JT the Bigger Figure claims that at the time, Kilo Kurt
Dude,
was
this
handling
guy is freaking Mamalo, dude.
up. JT the Bigger Figure doesn't accuse Kilo Kurt or Jay Diggs of committing the murder, but he does suggest that they knew about it and let it happen. Then, after his death, Kilo Kurt ended up being put in charge of Thiz Entertainment, even though he was allegedly fired right before the murder. Fortunately, most of the people who have the answers are long gone or refuse to talk. Fat Tone is dead, and Mac Minister is still claiming he was wrongfully charged. He's been fighting for early release ever since, but keeps getting denied. In 2014, Papoose was also murdered in a way that is shockingly similar to how Mac Dre was killed. Police found his body inside an SUV after someone had run him off the road during a shoot. The Bay Area lost a true legend, and Mac Dre will go down in history as one of the most influential rappers in the history of Northern California.
Facts.
Jay Diggs.
I don't know that dude.
Wants to throw down.
I've never seen him. I've never talked to him. Never did business. Never been in the same room. I don't know him.
Right, but you've made some pretty extreme claims about him.
How he got some responsibility in getting, old boy killed that they love up there in the Bay. We ain't touched content on that, Adam.
So Dre does his 6 years. He gets out. Kilo gets out. You eventually get out. And Dre jumps right back into the music thing.
Yep.
And actually blows up bigger than before.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this was the buff guy in the picture with the blue shirt. I think it looks
Starts
like
the whole, Thiz, party,
He started dropping CDs. He
Yeah.
dropped a couple with the Rompilation. Yeah, he and at this time it was still, when he first get out, it was still Romp Records. He teamed up with one of my other cuddies who just got out from a murder, Decon. He had went to jail. Decon went to jail at 15, get out at 25. Him and Dre hook up. They start Romp Records.
damn. Get locked up at 15. Get out at 25. 10 years of your life just gone. That's crazy.
And they take off with the Rompilation.
And, he really started to build a real cult following.
Yeah, exactly. And they really got to see who Mac Dre was. Like that was what let the world know. We already had the Bay Area, the Northern California, the Portland, the Seattle. They was already tapped in.
Yeah.
And this was through tapes and wasn't no internet movement. Dre missed the internet movement.
Damn, that's what's crazy about Mac Dre, like how he got very popular without kind of the internet,
You guys go and do a show in Kansas City. Well, you weren't there.
I wasn't there.
You weren't there.
This is speculation. Something happened at the after party.
Right.
But it wasn't nothing of, it was more of an argument with Dre and the promoter.
Right.
Because the promoter wanted Dre to stay. And Dre, I did my job, let me get my money, let's leave.
After the after party, Dre's going back to his hotel. A car pulls up and shoots up the van that Dre's in. Dre gets killed.
Right.
Was the driver of the car also killed?
No, they say he crawled up out the van. Van flipped over, he crawled up out, he lived.
Okay. Huge tragedy.
Definitely.
At this point. And as soon as it happened, the streets start to talk. People started coming up with names of who was responsible for this.
Wait. Does this chain say Mac Dre? Mac Dre and then Thiz Nation.
A Kansas City rapper named Fat Tone
One of the first names
was the one that people were pointing their fingers at.
Definitely.
Tone, along with another guy,
Cowboy
gets killed
in Las Vegas.
Right. Mac Minister gets convicted of the murder.
Right. Mac Minister and Jace Coley.
They were all saying that Fat Tone wasn't the guy who did it.
He wasn't.
He wasn't.
Nah.
Can you say who did it? Who you think did it?
I mean, from what I understand, the street saying everybody that did it is gone. They all supposed to be dead.
They're all dead.
That's what I understand.
Okay.
That's what I understand. It's been, so much shit happened in Kansas City after that shit happened. There's a lot of shit that wasn't publicly known.
Right.
You understand?
Because I interviewed Tech Nine.
So it wasn't Fat Tone.
And he said that he couldn't go back to the Bay for a while.
Only thing I can say for sure is that I'm pretty sure Fat Tone had nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? And if
'Cause
the
they're
streets is
friends,
correct, then the
right?
streets took care of their business. I don't know. That's Kansas City. You know, you know, one thing about it is the shit happened out there. So I would hope that Dre's people from Kansas City would handle it appropriately. As it is. I got
Handle it.
love for Kansas City. I stay going out there, so
Yeah.
I'm
That's
comfortable
crazy.
with Kansas City for sure.